Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. Okay, we're starting off with this photo. I'm going to give you guys a second to look at it. When I first looked at it, I thought it looked like a close-up of some roses. I really wasn't sure what it was, but believe it or not, this is a close-up of clouds on Jupiter. Yes, this is cloud formation. And a picture was taken from the Juno spacecraft. Credit, of course, goes to NASA, and it was on the Black Hole Twitter feed. Love these photos. All right, this is going to be one of my longer videos because I'm now running 2 days behind. I need to catch up on all of the news. So unfortunately, it's going to be super long. I know that annoys a lot of people. I apologize. I want to make sure that I bring everything to you. And of course, I want to make sure that I do everything fairly and bring both sides to every topic. You guys know how I operate. So let's just do what we do. Let's jump in with both feet. We have a lot to cover. Let's go. All right, so this story we're going to cover just came out. Now, I think we know where it came from because people in Montecito didn't get what they wanted, and so any dirt that they can dish, they're going to dish. So here's the story. As you can see the headline, why did Prince Charles in a fundraising scandal accept over £1 million from the 9/11 terror chief bin Laden's family? So here's the few things that were not immediately put out. This occurred in 2013, almost 10 years ago. Number 2, Charles did not personally broker the deal. Charles also told his staff it's probably not a good idea. The money that came were from his half-brothers, and the revelation came out Sunday. The money did not go to Charles. It went to the charity. So it makes you wonder if his thought process might have been something along the lines of, the guy's brother did something horrible. Maybe we could take this money and do, something good with it. Also, conveniently not put in the headlines or not, buried in the story is the fact that Osama bin Laden is believed to have about 50 siblings, and Osama bin Laden had been disowned by his family decades ago, and the brothers who gave the money to the charity have no involvement in what happened with 9/11. It should also be reported that bin Laden was removed as a shareholder in the family companies in 1991. The Saudi government expelled him, removed his citizenship. He went into exile, and then he went into Afghanistan, and that's where he plotted the 9/11 attacks. There you go. Interesting information that nobody seems to want to talk about. Now, apparently, one of the brothers, or half-brother, whatever, met with Prince Charles. They ate at Highgrove. They discussed the Islamic faith. Charles is a patron of the Oxford Center for Islamic Studies, where bin Laden's family funds a fellowship program. There you go. They then met again at Clarence House in October of 2013, and that's where the payment was apparently discussed. The brokerage of the money to the charity was discussed. When this information was, and I'm air quoting, leaked to the public, it was also leaked to the public that his advisors said, don't do it, don't take the money. But here's the interesting thing. The Mail on Sunday spoke with the Foreign Office. The Foreign Office was consulted about Prince William's charity accepting the money, and they gave their approval. The charity's 5 trustees closely examined whether to accept the money and ultimately decided to do so on the grounds that what bin Laden did should not tarnish his family, a family that had disowned him and hadn't seen him in forever and a day. There you go. Why should they be guilty of association? So, while somebody is leaking stories in an attempt to damage the royal family for not getting what they wanted, what's come out from this story is that due diligence was conducted. Information was sought from a wide range of sources, including government, and the decision to accept the donation was taken by the trustees. And any attempt to suggest otherwise is misleading and inaccurate, and that statement came right from the article. The Prince of Wales's charitable fund has assured us that thorough due diligence was undertaken in accepting the donation. Boom. I'm going to quote exactly what the article says here. It says, "It is a real shame that there is yet another allegation against Charles's judgment, that he's made another misjudgment. It is serious for him because there's so much chaos within the family at the moment of people being nasty and making accusations, especially with the Queen at her age. He is very close to taking over and being king, and it leaves a stain. It's not a case of just getting the money. It's the obvious case of thinking about the impression that it leaves." Boom. We know who leaked this information. We know who's trying to bring Charles down. Unfortunately, once you look at the whole thing, it doesn't tarnish him, not really. He went the legal route. The trustees approved it. Foreign Office approved it. I completely agree. Why should the family be stained by something that a family member who had been shunned decades earlier had done? I agree. And if the UK people don't like what's going on, then maybe they should ask the Osama bin Laden half-brothers to withdraw the millions that they're pumping into the Oxford Center for Islamic Studies, because they fund the fellowship program. Ask them to take their money back. Stop everything. But, come on, guys. Would you really? That's like if a family member committed murder. Are you guilty by association because you know that person? No. Everything points to the fact that they have had nothing to do with Osama bin Laden for years before this occurred, before 9/11 occurred. So, no, they're not guilty by association. And I think as long as the trustees and the government and everybody was contacted and everybody agreed, then I think this is a good thing. There you go. But I have to tell you that I think this is a low blow by certain people trying very hard now to tarnish the royal family. We know what's going on. These stories are going to be leaked. There's another book coming out by Omid Scobie. They've played their hand. They've played it poorly. They're on the way down. Try what you will. This kind of, leaking these kinds of stories doesn't help. It makes you look desperate. Yeah, not good. All right, moving on. All right, next up, I'm just going to touch on this. Apparently, Prince Philip's will was supposed to remain private. A newspaper called The Guardian put in an appeal over that decision to exclude the media from hearing about Prince Philip's will. Now, the lawyers for that newspaper said that the private hearing should remain secret. The fact that it was being held in secret was an interference with the principle of open justice. Okay, I don't understand that. The man died. What justice? This is his private will. It pertains to the family. Why in the hell would anybody need to hear about what's going on in the will? I don't get it. A ruling was handed down dismissing the appeal, saying that they could not see how the media could have been alerted to the fact a hearing was taking place. It would have caused a media storm. They also said that this was a highly sensitive time for the Queen and her family, and their interests would not have been protected if the hearings had been public and everybody heard where the money was going and, whatever. Because we all know that when Elizabeth married the Duke, when the Queen married him, he was literally penniless. However, over his 99 years, he built up a millions pound estate. So what happens to it shouldn't be anybody's business, but the family's. I don't get that. And the newspaper came back and said, the law has to apply equally. And the justices said, absolutely, the law applies equally to everybody, including the royal family. But that doesn't mean that the law produces the same outcome in every situation. And this is exceptional. And there's not a public interest in knowing how the assets of the royal family are distributed, how the assets of this man who has passed away are distributed. And in my opinion, it's nobody's business. Sorry, that's just my thought process on it. All right, moving on. So here's our next story. Kate joined the 1851 trust and sale, and she's going to be on she's joining the British racing team on their catamaran in a friendly Commonwealth race versus Team New Zealand with Sir Ben Ainsley. I hope I'm saying that correct. He is the most successful sailor in Olympic history. Interesting. And she first met him in 2012 when he won his 4th gold medal. They then met again in 2014 when they teamed up for the launch of the UK's America's Cup. Interesting. You guys should know that Kate is the royal patron of the 1851 Trust. Now, this charity creates educational experiences for ages 11 to 16 that revolves around sports and sustainability. And the trust has been named the Race for the Future Purpose Partner for the Great Britain sail team. So after going around and talking with everybody, Kate was presented with a framed print by the New Zealand Great Britain sail team. It looked like it was an intricately painted capital A. Very nice. Now, she also chatted with the rival team, the New Zealand team. She made sure that she gave equal to both sides. So before the race, Catherine learned about growing seagrass. And the little boy next to her, who's 12, said he was a little bit nervous, but, she did what I told her and she was very good. And she asked me if I was interested in sailing, and I do sailing camps in the summer. He told her I love the ocean. Here is just a smidge of a video to show you their interactions. Watch this. So when all of this was over, Ben Ainsley actually looked at Catherine because she was having so much fun talking with everybody and was like, come on, we've got a race, let's go. And so Catherine went and changed into this, I guess it's lycra? I'm not sure what it is. It's a true sailing outfit. Now, Mr. Ainsley did say that she is a sailor in her own right. She's sailed before, that he's not giving her any special treatment. Whatever she does, she knows what to do, and he has no qualms about taking her out onto the boat. So down they walked. She, of course, I don't even know where she changed, but whatever. She waved at everybody as she was headed onto the boat. Then she got onto the boat and she spoke to everybody on the boat. I guess they were deciding where she was going to sit, what was going to happen, where she was going to be, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, the race started. Now, we all know that Catherine is very competitive. She doesn't like to lose, especially when she races against William. She's extremely competitive. She even had Cambridge on the back of her vest. Anyway, you'll be happy to know that they went out for the race and their team won. Yay, Catherine. All right, next up, Prince William and his daughter, Princess Charlotte, put out a message of support for the Lionesses. This comes ahead of the Women's Euro England final, which apparently is going to be taking place. And William and Charlotte both wanted to wish her luck ahead of the match. It's been reported that Charlotte is a big football fan, so I think we'll be seeing more of that. If they win, of course, it'll be the first major trophy for the England women's team. And I have to say, Charlotte is absolutely gorgeous. Next up, I want to thank Belle on Twitter for this photo that she put up. This little girl is absolutely gorgeous, and she's giving us a sneak peek of what she's going to look like. She's going to be a gorgeous grown adult. We can already see it coming. Before any of the haters start up with you don't say anything about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex children, we don't see any photos of them. And every photo they put out is heavily photoshopped, whereas these are not. This comes straight from a video. You can even see Charlotte's split ends and flyaways in it. It's not photoshopped. Therefore, she's got natural beauty. It shines through. All right, let's move on. All right, so, and for those of you right after they gave that get going people from William and Charlotte, the team went on the field. They played at the halftime. It was 1-1. They were tied up. And then Chloe Kelly made a goal, making it 2-1, and they were in overtime, if I'm not mistaken, extra time, and they won. They did. So congratulations to the team. They are now the official European champions, and I know they're proud. I know they're proud. Congratulations. All right, ladies and gentlemen, something happened at the Commonwealth Games. There was a biking accident at 45 miles per hour, and cyclist Joe Truman was left unconscious and with a broken collarbone on the ground. Apparently, he had some major head trauma. He was attended to by medics and taken to the hospital after he regained consciousness. Apparently, he ran into Australian Matthew Glatzner, who had fallen off his bike ahead of him. Very interesting how that happened. I mean, what can you do? There's nowhere you can do. There's nowhere to go if somebody in front of you has fallen. Anyway, he was helped away in a wheelchair, getting oxygen, and transferred to the hospital for treatment of the collarbone and head scans. Now, they're saying this is just the latest setback for him because he spent the last 2 years battling back problems, which is why he was out of contention for the Tokyo Olympics. It's terrible. Now, he did win silver in the men's team sprint on day 1 of the Commonwealth Games, so he's not going to walk away without anything. And just so you know, Mr. Truman put this picture up on Twitter and said, and I'm reading right from it, "Thanks for all the well wishes after yesterday's crash. Was enjoying my little mid-race snooze. We'll get this shoulder fixed and be back soon." Good for him. All right, next up, I want to tell you guys a heartwarming story, and I'm going to attach the video, but just in case something happens, I'm putting up these photos just so you can see what happened. So one of the teams, it was Jamaica, was playing against Malaysia, and one of the Jamaican players, his shoes were like cracking or breaking. So they decided in order to keep him playing, they were just going to take some scissors and they were going to cut out the section on his shoes that were bad. So they did that, and then the guy goes back out to play. Well, let me tell you, the Malaysian coach gets up, walks over, sees they're the same size, takes off his shoes, gives his shoes to the Jamaican player, then goes back, sits down barefooted to watch the rest of the match, and the match continues. This is the kind of stuff that I love. So, just in case it's a copyright and the video goes bye-bye, I wanted to show you the photos. So, watch this.
Just below the advertising emblem themselves around so vigorously. Now
What's that you like?
same brand in this night session.
He should not disadvantage the opponent, but he is.
Now that makes sense.
All right, here we go. The articles are coming out now. Apparently, Prince Anne, who, by the way, is known as the hardest working royal, it's being reported that she always knew Meghan wouldn't last long in the royal family. Apparently, Princess Anne told Meghan that she should see royal life as a job rather than an opportunity to seek fame. And apparently, Meghan left the meeting completely dumbfounded. Apparently, she told Meghan that this wasn't a working monarchy. It was a job. You turn up on time, you do your research, you do your job, and that whatever charities you're involved in, you need to get involved and get immersed. And apparently, and I think we all know this, Meghan didn't take any of it to heart. She didn't get too involved with the National Theater when she was the patron there. She apparently didn't warm up to Princess Anne, and at that point, it's reported that Anne knew that she just wasn't going to make it. All right, here we go. Now, when Harry and Meghan went on Oprah and told all those lies, the family kept their mouths shut and stayed in, as Meghan says, in dignified silence. When Harry went on the Dax Shepard show and said things, the royal family remained in dignified silence. Okay, they've put up with a lot of crap, but at this point, they know that Harry's book is getting ready to come out, and they know that Harry's lying. Well, the family has decided that at this point they will react publicly if they feel that they must. That's just the way it is. So Harry better be careful what's in that book, Could you imagine if the royal family, if Charles, William, and Catherine all sat down and cleared the air and talked about what actually happened with all of these things and made Harry and Meghan look like the liars that we already know they are? It's just ridiculous. Now, the next thing you guys should know is that while Harry was there in the UK, he had a meeting with Charles, which lasted like 15 minutes. Charles ended the meeting very abruptly, it's being reported and alleged, because he specifically asked Harry what's going to be in your memoir, and Harry refused to discuss it, which told Charles everything he needed to know, didn't it? Doesn't take a genius to figure out that Harry had already crapped on him repeatedly, and Harry was going to continue to crap on him. And Charles was like, you know what? This has gone too far. I'm done. We've seen you. Thank you. You can go now. Yeah, I'm sure Charles is going, my father rejected me. I have no doubt that that's exactly the kind of stuff that went on. But I mean, if he's going to behave that way, then so be it. Now I just want to touch on this headline, which I completely believe. Their royal status is burning out, and it's going really fast. And in the end, they're saying that Harry and Meghan will probably have to give them up because it's not going to wash well. They're constantly searching to do new things, but everything that they do comes back to the royals, and the constant victimhood and the constant royal bashing. They have yet to realize that that's what's killing their brand. I don't know why they haven't figured that out. I really just don't understand why they haven't figured it out. But at some point, I think they're going to have to drop the titles because people are sick of it. There's one more thing I want to talk about just to prove the kind of point that I'm trying to make to you guys. And then I'm going to have to stop because this video has to be like one of the longest ones I've ever done. There is this woman, she's a comedian. Her name is Dana Alexander. She seems like a very nice lady. She seems like the kind of person that I'd probably want to go have a beer with. I think she'd be a lot of fun. You know what I mean? Anyway, she went on Good Morning Britain. Now, I cannot show you the video because Good Morning Britain gets very upset when you show any of their stuff. So they were on Good Morning Britain, and I don't recognize the first guy in the tie. I'm not sure who he is. I know Angela Levin, and I don't know who the woman is all the way to the right. So anyway, she's giving her impressions of the book, and this is exactly the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So let's talk about what she had to say. So she starts off by saying that Tom Bauer should rename the book Petty Malice because everything in it is petty and spiteful, especially from a man of his age. Now, because of his age and because he's never successfully been sued, she ought to have a little bit of respect for the fact that this man did a ton of research. She says, okay, so Meghan said she got married in her garden before, but it's all this nitpicking. Wait a minute, the woman lied. She was caught in a bald-faced lie, and this woman, Dana Alexander, is completely glossing over it. Just like the lies she told about her sister Samantha changing her name back to Markle when she started dating Harry, which was also proven unequivocally to be a lie. Just like she said that she was a sibling. She's being sued for all the lies that she told, but she glossed right over all that. She said, oh, I wasted 15 minutes of my life reading excerpts from this book, and, you know, they brought up the bullying. She goes, but there's never any real examples of the bullying, when actually that also is untrue. And with that, I just want to add that I'm confused why they would have somebody on a show to talk about a book that they haven't even read. And then she goes, and as a black woman, I've noticed that he paints her as angry and spiteful and difficult. And, you know, but because she is angry, she is spiteful, and she is difficult. And obviously you haven't read the book, because if you had read the book, he actually complimented her as a child for her drive, because she is empathetic to other people, because she does want to help. But he clearly points out that as she gets older, her personality changes because her parents catered to her every whim and never told her no. And then she wraps it up at the end by saying, you know, I found it interesting that a lot of the assertions were made by Harry, and yet Meghan's the one catching everything. Actually, almost every assertion was made by Meghan. Meghan was the one who said they were married in the backyard 3 days earlier. Meghan is the one who made the cries of racism. Meghan is the one who made all these allegations. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody knows that Harry is as bad as Meghan. But we all know that Harry is more weak-minded than Meghan. Harry doesn't give two craps about American politics. That's Meghan. Harry has become Meghan's puppet. The fact that she didn't really want to admit that, or maybe it's just really that she hasn't read the book. It should also be noted that for 2/3 of the interview, I'm not exactly sure, I don't remember exactly how long the interview was. It might have been 3 hours. 2 hours of it was Meghan. Harry was only there for the last hour. Harry also told lies and was blatantly caught lying. The bicycle, I'd never been on a bike, with my family when I was a child. Yeah. But when you get down to it, the truth is she didn't read the book, and she just started up with the whole as a black woman thing. She should have read the book before she went on that show and made assertions about what she thinks about the book. Yeah, that's a little disappointing because she seems like a very nice, well-educated person. Now, you guys should know that right before I was ready to end this, she and I had a very short dialogue online. Now, remember, she talked about, she said that she was married in the backyard, but what pettiness, okay? So here was what I wrote to her. And so I wrote, you glossed over the lie about being married in the backyard. She did say that, and it was a lie. It was. The Archbishop of Canterbury came out with the marriage certificate, which proved they were not married in the backyard 3 days earlier. And the law in Britain, if he had done that, he would have been breaking the law. He would have been arrested. It didn't happen. And this was her response. It's petty. They ridiculed her. I'm just glad, for caressing her baby bump. I'm just glad she got the children away from the racist UK. And that, my friends, tells you right there all you need to know. She's not interested in reading that book. She has her agenda. That's the end. She's not interested. Now, I will say this, back to her and to anybody else, guess you'll find out if and when she sues over that book. If she doesn't sue, that tells you everything that you need to know, because Mr. Bowers is scrupulous in his research. Everything is vetted, double and triple checked. So if she doesn't sue, then you have your answers. Okay, moving on. All right, we're moving on now, and we're going into chapter 22 of the book that I read. Apparently, Thomas was feeling very abandoned. Meghan didn't call him. Jason Knopf would never return his phone calls. That was probably at Meghan's behest. He said that he looked terrible. There were trolls on social media. They were calling him names. They were making fun of the way he looked. And he was looking for help. At one point, when they were still in contact, Thomas told Harry he wanted to give a short speech at the wedding, and Harry said that was fine. And then right after that, Meghan called and said, "No, you're not. No, you're not." Now, it was at this time that gentleman, Mr. Rayner, approached Samantha and got Thomas to do those staged photos to try to make him look better. And I can understand why he did it. Apparently, that Rayner guy threw some photos at him and said, "You look disheveled and fat." And there's a one photo of Thomas carrying beer, which implied he was a heavy drinker. And he really thought that this was going to help his image. He seriously did. But when Meghan found out about it, she did call and ask if he had anything to do with this. And now, to be fair, Thomas Markle did lie and say, "No, I had nothing to do about it. I had nothing with it." Now, Harry then called him and said, "Did you cooperate?" And Harry said, "If you're lying, my children's life will be in danger." And at that point, he was like, "What are you talking about? You don't have any children." As soon as this came out, Thomas offered an apology, and Harry told him not to make an apology. That would make everything worse. Okay, that's fine. Then Jason Knopf called him and said an apology would be advisable. So he had no idea what to do. One person was telling him no, one person was telling him yes, and Thomas's call with Knopf, the second call about the apology, was his last. So Jason Knopf did not, as Meghan later said, speak to Thomas on many occasions. Meghan also claimed that Jason Knopf made significant efforts to protect Mr. Markle and object to intrusions in his privacy, and Thomas Markle said that wasn't true either. This is when things get weird. So then Thomas starts having chest pains. Now, in the middle of this, he gets a call from somebody who says, "I'm here to pick you up to drive you to the airport." And he's thinking to himself, "Take me to the airport? I'm not supposed to fly for 2 more days." Anyway, he says, "I have to go to the hospital." So he goes to the hospital. Sure enough, he's having a heart attack. They did an angioplasty, a procedure where they opened up the veins, or the arteries of the heart to allow the blood to flow. Now, in the middle of all this, Harry is calling him and texting him and calling him and texting him. And, if you love Meghan, you'll make this right. Call me. There's other options. Don't speak to anybody. Now, in the middle of all of this, now remember, there's an 8-hour time difference. In the middle of all of this, he's laying in a hospital having just woken up from a procedure. Therefore, he wasn't able to text or talk to anybody. There you go. So when Thomas did wake up, he texted back to Meghan and said, the doctors said it went okay. There was some damage. I can't fly, but I love you and wish you the best of everything. And Harry texts back and goes, well, if you'd listened to me, none of this would have happened. No, nobody asked how he was doing. Nobody asked from the heart attack how much damage there was. Nobody said anything. But Harry just kept sending texts saying, we're not angry. We're not upset. It was at this time that Harry sent 3 telling off texts, as they call them, to Thomas Markle. And we're aware that one of them was so bad. Remember the trial? It was so bad they wouldn't even read it out in court. That's how bad. Harry's berating this man who just had heart surgery. Unbelievable. And Thomas sent back and said, you know what? I'm sorry my heart attack is an inconvenience for you. Unbelievable. She never again, Meghan never again called or texted or had any contact with her dad. And on her wedding day, Thomas sent a text and got no reply. There you go. All right, everybody, this is a 30-minute long video. I don't think I've ever done a 30-minute long video, but again, I was 2 days behind on the news and had to catch up. So as of this video, we are caught up, okay? I want your comments, and I know there's so much, but leave those comments because I'm reading them. I'm looking at them, okay? Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to be notified of uploads. If you've already hit that button, double check and make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube, for whatever reason, is still unsubscribing people. I don't know why they're doing that. I don't know how that's working. It's some sort of funky algorithm thing they've got going. I don't know. Just hit the button again, okay? Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter, Getter, Rumble. You can email me. For those of you who have donated through my thanks button and to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.